Now, Connal, a breakthrough for Sinn Féin would represent a major realignment of Irish politics. Can you tell us why?
Yes, it's a very interesting thing. This has not been a Brexit election in Ireland. Some of the commentary from the UK and the rest of Europe has sort of suggested that this would be an election which would be on the back of Brexit, and the current outgoing Irish Taoiseach Prime Minister Leo Varadkar had kind of gained cross-party support for how he'd handled that. But this has not been an election about that. This is not what voters have voted on today. This is a major realignment of Irish politics. The largest two parties, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, until this election, have now been joined by Sinn Féin. And essentially those two parties I mentioned have flipped and alternated between them in power for 90 years. And so you can see why Sinn Féin pulling joint level with them on 22% is the exit poll figure, and the early counts are actually bearing this out as well, shows you how major this is. And the thing to convey to you and your audience is that the reason why this has happened is it has been a very local election in some ways over issues such as health, housing and childcare. I think that the exit poll last night showed that in terms of voters being questioned as to what issues they voted on, 32% said health. There's the Irish health system has not been reformed in recent years and is not regarded as being as good as it could be. And likewise, there's a major housing crisis. And this is what voters have voted on yesterday. And the results that we're seeing now this morning are bearing this out.
Now, Sinn Féin was the political wing of the Irish Republican Army, or IRA, and is therefore historically linked to IRA violence. How has the party managed to reinvent itself?
Well, this is an interesting question, and it has been an issue this campaign. There was a very brutal killing of a young man, a 20-year-old man called Paul Quinn in 2007, and it resurfaced in this election, and it was introduced into the debates and into the discourse on this. And what this is actually is what explains in part this strong showing by Sinn Féin is essentially a very global European phenomenon in some ways, which is of a younger generation of voters. Sinn Féin has always been excellent since its reinvention politically and electorally at the time of the 1981 hunger strikes. Sinn Féin has always been very good at mobilizing younger voters and those who've never voted before. And what it's done is that it's managed to do this sort of in unprecedented numbers, it seems, yesterday. So there's a younger generation of people, and again, many of your audience will be familiar with this, of where essentially younger people will not have access to the same quality of housing and the ability to own your own home that their parents would have had, or their grandparents would have had even. So they've registered a very strong protest vote, and they've said, we would like to try something else. We would like to have a different political alternative, and we want to now give Sinn Féin a chance in this scenario. The interesting thing is that Sinn Féin have only ran 42 candidates in comparison to the larger two parties running 82 and 84, and they may live to regret that because things could change. Politics changes quite quickly, and there's no way in that sense, even if Sinn Féin get most of their seats and most of their candidates elected, that they can actually be the largest party. But they could go into coalition.
All right. Thank you for joining us on the program. Connal Parr, history lecturer at Northumbria University in the UK.